Every month, millions of Americans wait for the same moment, a payday. That direct deposit hits, and for a brief second, life feels secure. But then, something strange happens. By the end of the week, sometimes the same day, the money is gone. Michael was no different. To his friends, he was doing well. A decent apartment, a steady job, even a car that gave him freedom. But behind closed doors, his paycheck evaporated faster than he could count it. He never told anyone the truth, that by the middle of every month he was quietly broke. And Michael's story is not unique. It's a cycle, a hidden trap millions fall into without realizing it. This is not just about money. It's about why people work hard, earn a salary, and still can't breathe financially. Today, we uncover the 7 mistakes silently draining paychecks, and the turning point that changed everything. The first mistake was invisible, until Michael noticed the pattern. Every paycheck started with celebration. A new gadget here, a takeout meal there, favors for friends, bills paid later. By the third day, most of his money was already gone. He wasn't broke because his salary was too small. He was broke because every dollar left before it had a job. Wealthy people do the opposite. They plan, then spend. Michael, he spent, then panicked. It was a silent trap, one he didn't even see coming. But spending wasn't his only mistake. What came next was far more dangerous because it wasn't about money. It was about pride. Michael's Instagram told one story: dinners, weekend trips, a carefully curated life. But the bank statements told another. The truth? He was living for applause, not progress. Friends thought he was rising, but every like, every compliment, pushed him deeper into financial exhaustion. Michael wasn't investing in his future. He was investing in the approval of strangers. And when the money did stay behind, another trap waited, one disguised as discipline. Michael thought he was saving. Every month, he left a little in his checking account, the same account tied to his debit card. But the truth? That wasn't saving. It was delayed spending. One dinner, one impulse purchase, one small withdrawal, and the savings vanished. It wasn't until a friend forced him to open a separate account, one he couldn't touch daily, that he saw the difference. The trap wasn't just how much he saved. It was where he saved. Still, even with better saving, one problem remained. Michael's income. It was fragile, and he didn't know it yet. One Friday afternoon, his manager called the team together. Budgets were tight. Overtime was cut. Promotions frozen. Michael's paycheck didn't stop, but it shrank. That's when reality hit. When one stream dries up, you drown unless you've built another. For Michael, a small side hustle, running social media for local shops, became his lifeline. What he once thought was optional became the reason he could still pay rent. But while Michael learned to earn, he stumbled into a different problem. The kind that makes you think you're moving forward, when really you're sinking. Michael never hesitated to borrow. For vacations, parties, even gifts. But when it came to borrowing for a course, or a tool to grow his income, suddenly, he hesitated. One decision revealed the truth. Debt wasn't the enemy. It was how he used it that determined whether it lifted him or buried him. And Michael had been borrowing for comfort, not for growth. As the months passed, another fear kept him trapped. One stronger than debt, stronger than bills. Michael always said, "What if I lose?" But while he feared investing, inflation was quietly stealing his wealth. Groceries, rent, gas, subscriptions, all rising faster than his salary. Then one night, he tried something different. He invested just $20. He lost a little, but he learned a lot. The fear didn't disappear, but slowly, he realized the greater danger wasn't losing money. It was standing still while the world moved forward. And yet, the final mistake was the most destructive of all. Because it wasn't about money at all. It was about knowledge. Michael scrolled for hours, sports, gossip, endless entertainment. But he hadn't read a single book on personal finance. He hadn't taken a course. He hadn't listened to a podcast. The result? He was working blind. It wasn't until he stumbled upon a finance channel that he replaced 20 minutes of scrolling with 20 minutes of learning. Books, podcasts, mentors, they weren't magic. They were maps. Maps that finally gave Michael a way out. Michael's story isn't rare. It's the hidden reality of millions of salary earners. But it doesn't have to be yours. The cycle breaks when you plan before you spend. When you live for progress, not applause. When you separate your savings, build another stream, borrow for growth, invest despite fear, and keep learning. The paycheck doesn't have to disappear, but the choice is yours.